And we are live. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the Superherocuts show where we talk about things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by Comic Cuts. Comic Cuts, how you doing today, bro? What's going on?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Good as always. Good as always. I mean, there's a few things I want to get off my chest in this podcast, and we'll get there in a little bit. But
Hmm.
I'm happy, man. I'm happy. Page, our page doing well.
Yeah.
Um, this Avengers stuff is going crazy with the whole reboot stuff. So we're gonna be talking about that again today because there's more information that came out about the reboot. But first, we obviously are going to get into Loki episode 3 because Loki episode 3 did come out last week, and I wanted to talk about it because I do think that this is the best Loki episode that we watched so far. But first, I want to hear your perspective. How did you like the episode?
It was awesome. I always thought when Infinity War came out, like that was a Kang. No, sorry, that was a Thanos and Thor movie, and everyone else kind of, were in the movie, but it really was a Thanos and Thor movie. Now, what I always wanted was more Thanos. I wanted Thanos' backstory. I wanted to see Thanos' origin. And I really think that Kang is such an intriguing character. And to kind of get to see Kang in his earlier stages in life, where he's not even coming into his own yet, like this is such a special thing that we're getting. And I know that there's been, a lot of criticism for what the MCU has done with the Disney Plus series and all that. But here's the thing, like, to get to see Kang in the early phases, to me, this makes like all the Disney Plus nonsense, even the She-Hulk stuff, even though I kind of cheated because I didn't watch the whole thing, but it makes all of it worth it. This is absolute fire. I think it's really cool. I think Miss Minutes is going to become a bigger villain than we expected. I don't know if we're going to see her as a villain in the movies. I hope that's kind of what happens. I would like to see Miss Minutes become a bigger, more menacing character. That's obviously what they're foreshadowing with. Also, spoiler alert, if if you haven't read any of the comics and you don't want to know too much, but for those of you who don't care or read the comics, Ravonna is like Kang's love interest. She always has been. Kang travels time for her, and it's cool to kind of see her and Miss Minutes behind the scenes, playing with Kang. So I think it's awesome. I think it is the second best Loki episode, period. Obviously, the first being the finale of season 1, but I think it's awesome, and they really upped the ante with this episode.
I 100% agree. This is definitely my favorite episode of the season so far. I'm not sure of all time, but of the season so far, this is a great episode. This opens up a lot of questions, but I want to talk about first the performance of Jonathan Majors. This episode shows us how needed Jonathan Majors is in the MCU, an actor with that caliber and level of acting, because a lot of people got to think about it, right? Jonathan Majors is literally playing hundreds of different versions of different characters at the same time. So for him to be able to switch from a serious version of himself to like more of like a the most powerful version of Candy Conqueror to this version, which is Victor Timely, who was more of like like a statesman kind of guy,
Yeah.
was very very awesome to see him portray this role. And this episode really gave me like a Scooby Doo kind of vibe, kind of to where like it was kind of like little nutty, like with like. Because like I don't have partners, and he was kind of scamming people on his inventions. Like I felt like that was super dope. And I also love the idea that He Who Remains had a backup plan from the start, right? His backup plan was that if something happened to him, for Ravonna to give the younger version of Kang the freaking what's call it, the TVA manual. Now, here is the question that I have, right, bro? Because Nathaniel Richards technically is from the future. He's not from the past. So I have a couple questions to how that was possible. Maybe this is just another variant timeline where maybe Nathaniel Richards was born in like the 18 or 1700s. I'm not sure. But I was a little like, how does that work if Nathaniel Richards is technically from the future?
Right.
I'm not sure if you were
Yeah.
thinking the same thing, but I was kind of
No.
thinking that the whole time.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, go ahead.
I haven't read comics with Victor Timely. So, Victor Timely is new to me also. So I don't really know what it was, but I kind of thought, before going into this season that it was, his way of going back into the past and kind of hiding out there. That's what I thought, but it doesn't seem to be that at all.
Yeah, my guess is that maybe maybe Kang just went into the timeline, killed off who Victor Townley actually is as a kid, and just replaced it with a younger version of himself. And maybe he just wiped the memory of his younger self, so then he thinks that he's like a kid in that time.
Right.
That's most likely what happened. But yeah, Victor Townley is a very, very interesting character. But I do think that this builds up a lot of things. A lot of people have been asking me on TikTok, stuff like that. Like, do we think this is going to be the main Kang? I am totally not sure, but I think it possibly might be the main Kang that we're going to deal with. Personally, because I just don't think that they would, introduce this character like this to not, and he's already kind of making fans feel like he's a good guy. So this is the perfect chance for him to turn on Loki and stuff like that.
There's no way they're going to introduce us to 3 Kangs and we haven't seen the main Kang yet. Because remember, we had He Who Remains, we had Kang from Quantumania, and now this is the 3rd variant.
Well, no, we actually saw 6 Kangs, not to mention the Council of Kangs at the end of Ant-Man.
Right.
And so that's the other thing. Like, if this Kang is evil, what about the Council of Kangs? So here's my theory. My theory is that the Council of Kangs will kill Victor Timely at the end of this season, because I do believe that the Council of Kangs are the main villains. And I think that's the way that it's kind of going to go there. And I think that, then we'll see, because we obviously saw Rama Tut and people like that, those different variants of Kang. So I still think those are the main bad guys of the what's called it,
MCU
of the MCU for right now. Yeah. Yo, Loki episode 2 was insane. I really liked Loki episode 2. Loki episode 2 was good, but bro, 3 was a banger for me. Like, I really I was into it, and not to mention, I gotta talk about this. The cinematography of the show was beautiful. The freaking just the color grading of the episode was beautiful. I love the location. It gave me like medieval time, not medieval times, but it made me feel like I was living in the 1800s. It was like the episode was done beautifully. I'm not gonna lie. And then Loki and Mobius coming, and Sylvie letting Victor Timely go was very interesting. But now let's talk about the ending, because in the ending we see that Ravonna and Miss Minutes are back in the place where He Who Remains died. And Miss Minutes said in the end that she had to tell Ravonna something. So my idea of what she had to tell Ravonna is, as you said, right? Obviously, Ravonna and Kang are lovers in the comics. The main theme of the comic is that no matter what Kang does, Ravonna always dies. And there's a point to where Ravonna and Kang actually admitted their love for each other, and she died right after that. So I think that Miss Minutes maybe tells Ravonna that Kang kills her or something like that, which sets her off. I don't know.
I also want to say, like, people forget that, and it's weird how like little this is talked about, but Thanos also was driven out of love too, and that's like what drove him in the comic version of Infinity War, which there is a comic called Infinity War, but it came out after Infinity Gauntlet, which is really what Infinity War is based off of. And I think it was like the Lady Death. I forget the character's name, but I think
it was
that's
Death.
who it was.
Death.
Yeah, it was Death, and he was in love with her, and she wouldn't even like look in his direction. She was cold as hell. But he was driven to draw all the power of the Infinity Stones as a way to impress her. And they kind of pushed that, they completely skipped over that. It was never mentioned in the MCU, but I don't think that's going to be the case with Kang, because we already have Ravonna. Death wasn't in the MCU. So Ravonna's there. There's no way she's there and they're not going to go there. The question is, how are they going to do it? How are they going to play it out? Because, in the comics, Kang kind of meets her. She dies. He goes back in the past to meet her again, and she keeps dying and dying and dying. But in this, it's kind of the reverse, whereas like, she's trying to help him after he died.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very interesting sequence of events.
Yeah.
And I believe that everything that is happening, He Who Remains already knew that this was going to happen. That's kind of my theory. Let's answer these questions real fast. If you could travel back in time, where would you go?
Are you talking about like in Marvel or in real life?
I think saying in general. I would go back to see if Wilt Chamberlain actually scored 100 points.
I think I would go back to the end of the Great Depression, like when things started to level out. And I would try to build an empire at that time.
Interesting. Sorry, man, episode 3 Loki. All right, bet. But I will get to your reboot questions next because I have a lot to say about that. Because I know a lot of information about the reboot. I did like 3 hours of research. Brendan said he would figure out who gave Magic Johnson AIDS. Okay, thanks, bro. Jesus Christ, that is so morbid. Okay, so thank you for that, Brendan. Appreciate that. Like Brendan, would you just take one for the team and you would get it, or By the way, Magic Johnson has HIV, not AIDS, bro. AIDS makes you like there's no cure to AIDS. HIV is not curable, but you can treat it. So let's put some context out there. Anyways, okay, so with the end of I'm going to finish this with the end of episode 3. I just want to see what's going to happen when they get back to the TVA, because I mean, pretty much no one's in their way at this point. So yeah, and I also just want to see Miss Minutes, because do you think that there's a chance that Miss Minutes could be a variant of Ravonna, or do you think that she's actually just an AI?
It's possible she's based off Ravonna, but I have a weird feeling that she's going to have something to do with the Beyonder.
How?
I think that maybe the Beyonder had something to do with helping set her up to get Kang to do some of his dirty work.
I'll be honest, you should write that down and make a video on that. Just saying.
Yeah.
That'll be a fire theory. Okay. So I know you guys was Miss Minutes based off her falling out of love. Sylvie, what do you say? Sylvie killed He Who Remains, and now she tried to kill Victor Thomas. Yes, but she let him go. Sylvie, what do you say? The Dragon Trainer. Sylvie killed He Who Remains, and now she tried to kill Victor Thomas. Do you think she'll hunt every Kang variant, including Kang himself, kill them all? I mean, she can try, but she'll lose. Like, you know what I mean? She has He Who Remains literally had none. I think He Who Remains let her kill him. Being honest, I mean.
Yeah, the other thing,
if He Who Remains wanted to, he would have cooked her.
The other thing you got to remember about He Who Remains, he is the final form of Kang. Now that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean he's Kang in his prime. He's probably not Kang in his prime, but he is Kang at peak wisdom. Maybe not performance, but wisdom level. He is peak.
Yeah, his death was not in vain. That's what I'll say. Would you like to be your own variant? No, I would not like to see other versions of myself. Brendan, she's getting cooked. Yes. Okay. So yeah, that's how we feel with that. All right, now let's get to what matters. All right, which is this MCU reboot, because I did 2 videos on it 2 days in a row. So let me just tell you what I know. Comic Cuts. I don't think you and I have talked in depth about this yet. So okay. Boom. Look, someone just joined. We're about to talk about the MCU reboot. How apparently Kevin Feige is going to fix it. Okay, so first off, there's a book that came out, right? MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige put out a quote that hinted to the end of the quote said this. There may be old characters that you thought were dead that will come back, right? Cliff notes of what he said. So here is the working theory that I've heard, okay, Comic Cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So, first off, Hugh Jackman is staying as Wolverine forever. There will not be a recast of Wolverine, and Hugh Jackman is going to be the Wolverine in the new MCU. So the idea is that at the end of Loki season 2, which we're in right now, there are going to be the TVA is going to be grabbing a bunch of heroes from other Earths, and they are going to be putting them, and they're going to keep them somewhere. The theory is that they will be kept in the city of the TVA. And the thing is that they will be called the Multiversal Avengers. So the rumor, look, if people are joining us, we're talking about something juicy. The rumor is that with that there's going to be basically like a version of Wolverine, a version of Spider-Man, a version of all these different characters. And that's where, you know, a lot of people are saying Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, a version of Hugh Jackman, stuff like those characters. Storm, Chris Evans, Human Torch. They the rumor that there's going to be a multiversal team of those type of people somewhere in the TVA hiding, and basically they're going to use them to try to stop other variants of Kangs. Okay, which makes sense to me. Okay, then there's a second plan, right? The second plan is that at the end of Secret Wars, all of the Earths are going to be destroyed, every single Earth. So what is going to happen is, and just like in the comics, right? Reed and his son ended up making a whole new Earth, correct? Comic cuts at the end of Secret Wars.
Dr. Doom that did it, not Reed.
I thought it was Reed and his son. Didn't Reed and Franklin create a new Earth?
I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Doom.
I'm pretty sure Reed and Franklin created a new Earth. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. What do you say? I'm not sure. I want to reboot. Okay, Dragon Channel. Let me just explain to you what I know, and you tell me what you think about it. But anyways, so the theory is that somehow the Earth is going to be recreated, and
it was Dr. Doom
who created the new Earth. I thought he really.
Yeah, after the collapse of the multiverse due to various incursions, Dr. Doom, with the help of Doctor Strange and the Beyonders' power, crafted Battleworld from the fragments of destroyed.
Yeah. So I'm not talking about Battleworld. I'm talking about after Battleworld, all that stuff. There's going to be a new Earth. There's going to be a new Earth. Yeah, I'm talking about after all that. There's going to be a new Earth, and Franklin and Reed Richards, because Reed Richards, I'm pretty sure in the comics, he does become a Beyonder to fix the Earth with Franklin. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Hungry Almighty. Yeah, the multiverse was restored by Reed because Reed becomes a Beyonder and him and Franklin restored. Okay, so what happened? So what is going to happen is they are going to take these characters called the Chosen Ones. Tom Holland is reportedly a Chosen One. Hugh Jackman is a Chosen One. Another Chosen One is going to be the Fantastic Four that we're going to see because...
Let me ask you something. Like Tom Holland's Spider-Man is a Chosen One. Tom Holland's not playing a completely new character.
Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Okay.
Another Chosen One is the Fantastic Four. Just to note this for you guys, the Fantastic Four is not going to be a MCU bred Fantastic Four. It's impossible to put them in the MCU right now. They had the chance. They ruined it. And it wouldn't make sense. You know why? Because the Fantastic Four... No. They are going to be from another Earth. The whole movie is going to be on another Earth. Because Franklin Richards is already born. And Franklin Richards isn't born until Reed and Sue have their powers. So it literally wouldn't work. Like they would have to be hiding from the world. And we're not doing that again. We tried that with the freaking Eternals. It didn't work. Okay. So they're going to be on another Earth. And what is going to happen is they are going to lose on their Earth. Something's going to happen, probably an incursion. And then they're somehow going to end up in the MCU. Okay. So they are a version, or they are one of the Chosen Ones. And there's going to be other Chosen Ones. Another Chosen One, apparently, Robert Downey Jr. Another Chosen One, Chris Hemsworth. Another Chosen One, Chris Evans. Another Chosen One, Daredevil from Netflix. These characters are basically going to be put into this new MCU, and not to mention all the other X-Men characters. Patrick Stewart is a Chosen One. Ian McKellen is a Chosen One. Sounds crazy. So, all these people, and I'm going to answer the age factor in a second. So all of these characters are going to be labeled as Chosen Ones, and all these characters are going to be put into this new MCU universe, and that is going to be our current MCU. So here's another thing that I heard from you guys, or that not from you guys. Here's another thing that I heard regarding this whole reboot stuff. Okay, so Feige, in the quote, said that he was going to abandon all of the stuff that didn't work. Okay, so we are most likely never going to see Ironheart in Secret Wars. Just keeping it real. Agatha is not going to be continued after this. Echo will not be continued after this. A lot of these characters that we saw, we will never see them again, because this is what studios do, guys. When they find out that something doesn't work, they have to revert back to the things that did. Here's another fun fact. And Doctor Doom is a chosen one, but we don't have a casting for him yet. But obviously, like, if it's gonna be the new MCU universe, obviously it's gonna be other characters like Doctor Doom and Kingpin and stuff. I'm just not. I'm only talking about the important ones, So here is the thing: if they're kind of letting go of all these. Oh, by the way, T'Challa is a chosen one. By the way, forgot to say that.
They got to bring T'Challa back.
Yes. So Kevin Feige is going to be kind of leaving all of the stuff that didn't work and go back to things that work. So now let's talk about the ages, okay? Because I have a list on my computer of the ages of these actors.
They use so much CGI as it is that's what they're going to do for the age.
Yeah, and that's what I am about to
like
allude to right now. Because bro, lately, and this is the thing, Comic Cuts, that's been pissing me off, okay? Like, I've been actually kind of annoyed because a lot of people have been complaining about the ages of the characters. How are they going to do the age? Okay, so I'm going to pull up one of my scripts where I basically listed all of the ages. Okay, so let's pull up these ages for you guys. Present, share screen. Okay, because I really want you guys to see what I'm trying to show you. Okay, Comicus, do you see my screen?
Let me enlarge my.
Okay, screen is showing. Okay, here we go. Hugh Jackman, 54. Robert Downey Jr., 58. Chris Hemsworth, 40. Chris Evans, 46. Tobey Maguire, 48. Andrew Garfield, 40. Okay, Patrick Stewart is 83 years old, and he came back and is coming back for more. Ian McKellen, who was back for Deadpool, is 84 years old, and he said he is not retiring. Look, guys, we have the technology to make it work. Did you guys not see what they freaking did for Luke Skywalker? Okay, let's also talk about Iron Man. For someone to say RDJ cannot be Iron Man, all this dude has to do is put on a mask and that's it, bro. The rest is just talking and walking. And if there's really fight scenes, you can put someone younger and just deep fake the face. It's not that hard.
RDJ got a little skinny, but that could change. But I think he got skinny because he went vegan.
It's nothing a diet can't change, bro. You know what I mean? Right. Like they can make him look right.
But here's the other thing that I think that you're skipping. Number one, I think it would be better. Listen, I love Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I grew up with him. If they can make it work, make it work. And like I do think that, like, and I always go back to James Bond because that's what like got me to be a fanatic and everything. But Sean Connery left because of money. And when he left, they brought in this guy, George Lazenby. And at the time, granted, he's like a model and he was never really an actor, but at the time, I don't think even if you had a good actor, like I just don't think that people would have judged that actor fairly coming out of such an iconic performance of someone like Sean Connery. And I kind of think that you have the same dilemma with guys like Robert Downey Jr., Hugh Jackman, and Chris Evans. Think that Chris Evans, like if you recast some of these guys, it doesn't matter how good that actor is and how great they do it. Like people will be unfair because it was so recent that the other guys just did it. And like, you have to remember, similar to Sean Connery and James Bond, like no one knew who James Bond was really when the first movie Dr. No came out. And it's very similar to a lot of these characters. No one thought about Iron Man until that movie came out, like ever. Wolverine is a little different, but at the same time, I just don't like, people are like, oh, Daniel Radcliffe. Bro, if Daniel Radcliffe ever played Wolverine, he would get chewed the fuck out. Like
even if he's good, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a good performance. Why do you think the new who's that? What's that movie that Jason Statham does? The Transporter. The new guy did so good, but because of Jason Statham's staple on it, it doesn't work. And that is why, for everyone complaining about the age, look, think about this. Luke Skywalker was Luke Skywalker in the 80s, and they had to deep fake the face. You know why? Because if they recast it, it wouldn't work. No matter how good the actor is.
I actually disagree with Starks. I think enough time has passed that if they were to like do, and if they did remakes of the original trilogy,
we are talking about that in a little bit, okay? We were talking about a little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
but I was just saying for the Mandalorian episode itself, like I felt like a recast wouldn't have worked in that Mando episode. Like they needed, like Star Wars needed that Luke Skywalker, and that's what I'm kind of starting to allude to when it comes to MCU right now with the state that it's in, where fans are doubting it. You got to bring back the old players on the chessboard, and this is what I'll say, because when you bring back the old players on the chessboards. And when they recast, because that day will come where RDJ will be recast and Hugh Jackman and Chris Evans, fans will understand at that point, because at that point, they would have seen the progression. And when the recast happens, that is why Bond, that is why a lot of Bond recast work, okay? And I think a lot of other recasts work, not just Bond. A lot of people live with James Bond. And when I say they live with James Bond, people have seen the progressions of the character. People understood that Brosnan was just getting old and that he had to let it go.
And here's the other thing on that note. Right now, and I believe these rumors to be true, there is a very big rumor going around that Barbara Broccoli, the iconic Bond producer, she is considering having Christopher Nolan do the next 2 Bond movies, and they're both taking place in the 1950s, which is, we've never seen anything like that before. And I think it would be incredible. I've always wanted to see a retro style Bond movie in the 50s. I loved what they did with Casino Royale, which, if you don't know, Casino Royale is the first Bond book Ian Fleming ever wrote. So it was really cool that they did that, because it never got a proper Bond movie. It got like TV spoofs and whatever. But here's the thing. I think that one of the reasons they're doing something like that is because Daniel Craig was such an iconic Bond that they can't just recast and do everything as normal. They kind of have to bring some freshness to James Bond to get people comfortable with the recast, because Daniel Craig is no longer doing James Bond. And I think that, sometimes like just a recast on its own, when the character was made iconic by a certain actor, like that's a lot to get over. And think about it this way. When Daniel Craig was cast as James Bond, people lost their minds and hated on him. They were like, I don't know this guy. He's blonde. When it came out, everyone shut up. And it was very similar when Robert Pattinson was cast as Batman. So that is all the proof you need.
Yeah, and we're also seeing
that people are way too harsh on recasts.
And to add on to it, Comic Cuts, the same thing's happening with Percy Jackson right now, because the kid's a brown-haired boy. Just saying, or because the kid is blonde, and people are not caring because the quality. Look, at the end of the day, if people understand what's going on, they won't be mad at the changes. That's why I say you should have recasted T'Challa, but we'll talk about that a whole other day.
Yeah, and by the way, the T'Challa recast they should have done. They didn't have a choice, and that movie was coming out regardless.
Yes,
it was a massive L not recasting.
Fans would have understood. I believe that.
I don't know about that. The fans were way too sensitive about it.
For real?
Yeah, I think so. And I get it. Cancer hits home with me. But that movie needed T'Challa.
100%, brother. I agree. Okay, now let's read some super chats or some chats, and then I'm going to go back into the rest of the what I know. Okay, Doom Creek. Oh, we ever said that. Hopefully, Dr. Doom is the chosen one. He will be. RDJ literally is on a green screen the entire time. Anyways, exactly. Like RDJ is the most. He makes the most sense. Me and Comic Cuts agree on that. Vin Diesel literally played Tom for 20 years in 10 movies, so it's possible. Amen to that. And Dom does a lot more than what Iron Man has ever done on screen.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel is literally Superman. All right, the X-Men can last.
The rumor is when they shoot Iron Man and he's wearing the mask,
he's
Robert
gone.
Downey Jr. is like not even on set.
Yeah, he's out with his wife chilling. All right, the X-Men can last. That's why even Jon Favreau was against Iron Man not dying. Anyways, okay. The X-Men can last the MCU 20 plus years of storytelling. Can you see Hugh Jackman play Wolverine for another 20 years? Yes, he can play Wolverine for another 20 years. Yes, he just got a divorce. Dude literally has nothing to do at this point. And I believe that Hugh Jackman can stay to an extent, and he can stay in a peak enough shape. Plus, with CGI and other digital stuff, you can make it work, bro. But I believe that the reason why they are doing this is to they are trying to build up Wolverine so when it passes on, the hate won't be as bad. That's the only reason why they won't recast someone like Hugh Jackman right now. Because let's be real, with the society that we're in that hates everything new, if a new Wolverine got announced right now, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of being a Marvel fan.
And by the way, I
yeah.
don't, and maybe I'm typecasting him, but like, I don't see Daniel Radcliffe playing the Wolverine because I don't know. I just think he's not like, he's soft. He's not and Hugh Jackman, he might not be as like tough and rugged in real life, but he's not soft in the way Daniel Radcliffe is.
But Radcliffe, it will be a funny variant in like Deadpool, but not like an official, you know what I mean? But not like a real.
Could you imagine Logan, that movie with Daniel Radcliffe? No one would be talking about it.
Now, if it's Taron Egerton, that's a whole different story. I think he could play Wolverine. But like, there's no one on this earth that could be a definite Wolverine at this moment that would do as good as Hugh Jackman. So I'm totally fine with him taking the role.
And I got another criticism for something about recasts. I swear to God, it's like if someone looks the part, everyone's like, "Oh, he should play the role."
Here we go.
Looking the part is important, but the guy's got to be able to act the part, and that's arguably more important than looking the part.
And that's why Adam Driver might be casted over what's his name? The dude from who's Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, John Krasinski. I really want John Krasinski to play that role, but I know that Adam Driver is levels above him in acting ability. Like Scorsese even said himself, as much as I don't like him, Scorsese said Adam Driver is one of the greatest actors of this generation, and if he is Mr. Fantastic, that's going to be really big. Okay, let's get into the next super chat.
Krasinski could deliver in that role. I think he is.
I think Krasinski can. I want him to do it, but I understand that Adam Driver is like a generational actor. Like Krasinski is not a generational actor. It's funny. It sounds like the studio is going to snap their fingers, erase 50% of the MCU and the other 50%. And Dragon Trainer, you are right. And what other way would you want it to be? Do you guys like? Can I be honest? Do you guys really want to continue this road that we're going on? Like, let's be real. Do you really guys?
I think we don't like. I think it could be salvaged.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, do you guys really want more shows like Agatha or like freaking Ironheart? No, you don't. You don't. Why do you think Armor Wars is becoming a movie, bro? Because Tony Stark is in it, bro. Like it's all of everything is pointing. Do you guys understand? Steve is going to come back in Captain America, bro. Old man Steve will be in this movie to plant more things. She-Hulk season 2 is not happening, bro. Recasting T'Challa would not have given backlash. You think it would if you're talking about your average everyday moviegoer? They don't care. But at the time, it definitely would have, because we saw. I think Comic Cuts. No, we weren't friends at that time, but I definitely saw a lot of people hating. But I didn't think it was going to be as bad at the time.
Hating on what? Agatha?
No. Hating on T'Challa being recast.
Yeah, listen. Here's the thing, and I feel like I say this every episode, but I feel we keep getting more and more viewers and new people, so I'll say it for you guys again. Here's the thing: we got robbed with Wakanda Forever. Okay, T'Challa Namor rivalry is one of the greatest comics stories that ever happened in Marvel Comics. It's one of the biggest pieces leading into Secret Wars. And the fact that we got robbed of that movie should have been like Winter Soldier level banger. And guess what? It came out. Listen, I thought it was better than most people. I enjoyed it. But the truth is, no one's talking about it anymore in a good way, except for guys like us. Yo, you're muted.
My bad. Super chat. My bad. Or chat. I keep saying super chat. Chat. Taron Egerton as main 616 MCU progressing. Actually, our MCU is Earth 199999. But I think he would be a perfect. I think he would be a really good cast. I won't say perfect, but I think he would be a good casting to come under Hugh Jackman. But it's whatever. No She-Hulk. Yes. I don't. She-Hulk bad. Yeah, She-Hulk I bad. Do not. Yeah, at least from all I know, I don't believe She-Hulk is going to be on here. Reboot can help for sure. Hey, I'm so happy that a lot of people are on board for Reboot, but let me give you guys just the rest of the Reboot news that I have. Okay, so I think I ended with, this is what I wanted to talk about. Okay, Doctor Strange got ruined. Okay, Multiverse of Madness was supposed to be what Deadpool 3 is right now, but what happened is, and this is Disney has to be held accountable. Disney forced Kevin Feige to announce the Fantastic Four and to announce Avengers Secret Wars. He was not supposed to announce that because he was not done with the storytelling. But because he forced these announcements, he had to go and make a lot of changes, okay? And so what happened was Doctor Strange became a mess because Scott Derrickson left. And if you don't know, Scott Derrickson directed Doctor Strange 1. And so what happened was, Comic Cut, you hear me? What was going to happen, bro, was the multiversal Avengers were supposed to make an appearance at the end of Doctor Strange, and that was going to lead into Loki season 2. And Loki season 2 was actually going to be about the multiversal Avengers. That's the rumor I heard.
Yeah, should have done that.
So we missed out, and we got a forced Illuminati. It was terrible.
We got and we got a forced America Chavez who doesn't belong in the MCU.
Yes. But I promise you, even if American Chavez was in the movie, if there was a MCU, I mean, if there was a Avengers multiversal team with Tobey Maguire and for freaking Hugh Jackman, bro, I would have been nuts. And plus, let's also talk about this. Doctor Strange was supposed to come out before Spider-Man No Way Home. So imagine if we got a crazy multiversal movie and then so like that and No Way Home would have been nuts. But that movie got ruined. So that ruined a lot of the trajectory for what the multiverse was going to do, because we were going to see Doctor Strange and Kang the Conqueror in Multiverse of Madness. And actually, let me tell you another leak of what I heard. Do you guys know that Clea was going to be working with Hydra Cap?
That's cold.
Comic Cuts, we were robbed.
Yeah.
Hydra Cap and Clea going to different multiverses, bro, trying to save the multiverse or to different Earths. Oh, we were freaking robbed. Okay.
I can't even sit down to rewatch. I tried. I tried to rewatch Multiverse of Madness once, and I couldn't do it. It's not a good movie.
I agree. Okay. Next comment. Here's what I do. I soft reboot everything from phase 1 to 3 happening, except history was written. Didn't die. I wouldn't do that. I would just do a new universe and that can never happen.
Listen, here's the thing. Don't fix what's not broken. And phase 1 to 3 were all gold. You know, if you added X-Men and Fantastic Four, you would have ended up with like a Spider-Man 3 situation where it was doing too much and took away from the story. And Spider-Man 3, like, you know, one less villain, and that movie would have been gold.
100%, my brother. Okay, next comment, then we're going to get to the next topic. Should Kevin Feige leave? What? Hell no. God, no. No, we do not make Kevin Feige leave. No.
Yeah.
He made a mistake. It happens. If James Gunn made the same mistake, I wouldn't want James Gunn to leave. No. All right. Let me just tell you guys this. Kevin Feige is a once-in-a-generation human being to come to the film industry ever. There has never been a Kevin Feige. The second Kevin Feige that we will see is James Gunn. Okay, there's nothing close to Kevin Feige in the universe. Okay,
shared universes weren't a thing until the MCU.
Kevin Feige is the reason why everything is the way it is. He changed the landscape of cinema forever. Like Kevin Feige is the GOAT. Like he's the greatest. Yeah,
that's why every studio is reaching back into the past for their intellectual property, you know, to try to fledge out their franchises.
Yes.
Kevin Feige is the reason of that. And by the way, we're benefiting from that in so many ways.
Yes. You know, even if the shows aren't working or the movies.
No, but even like outside of that, like the video games, like Spider-Man 2, you know, the way they're like trying to build, out the properties even further outside of film. Like we wouldn't be getting that way. The DCU wouldn't be happening. The Snyderverse wouldn't have happened, whether you hate it or love it. Star Wars wouldn't be doing what it is doing today. You know, Mandalorian wouldn't exist. Like all these things were inspired by the way Kevin Feige expanded the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes. And by the way, guys, and Hungry Almighty, you just beat me to what I was going to say. It was never Feige's fault of why this happened. It's Disney's fault. It's Disney's fault. Because I don't know if you guys know, but there was a quote that came out a couple of days ago that Feige was forced to announce all these projects that he wasn't ready to do.
Yeah. And I think
Disney is the one that made him dive into the TV shows too much.
Yeah, and I think
like
Disney forced him to do that because, they forced Kevin Feige to do a lot of these TV shows. Kevin
because of the
Feige,
success.
put showrunners in charge. A lot of those showrunners failed. And then the heads at Disney saw that, MCU hype was kind of going in a different trajectory. And they were like, you got to announce this so people are hyped up about the MCU.
Yep. And now it seems like Kevin Feige has his power back and he's starting to make actual changes again. Because I promise you, if Feige doesn't do it, he's leaving with his property. And I can promise you guys that. And if not, Feige will go somewhere else and make it 10 times better. Just saying. Okay. So now, I don't think I have anything else that I want to say, but I just know this, guys. RDJ will be back, and we will be back to the glory days again. Okay, so now I know Comic Cuts, you wanted to talk about this, right? Because there was an announcement that came out that all Marvel is canon. Okay, so Comic Cuts, wait, you want me to kind of give like the groundwork? Okay, so to lay the groundwork, right? They said that the Fox universe, the Sony universe, all Marvel is canon. Okay. Now the reason why all Marvel is canon is because of the multiverse. Okay, all Marvel is canon because we have technically seen all universes flow through the MCU at this point. We saw Venom from Sony come into the MCU, right? And we are going to see the X-Men now come into the MCU by Deadpool. Like a Fox character is in the MCU. So technically it is true. All MCU is canon. And I'll give you the floor on that.
Listen, there's a lot of things about this. It's an easy excuse, but like it also makes sense. Why wouldn't they have it with the multiverse? And I think that it's a good way to bring in those older characters, which they obviously want to do. They're bringing hype, but I just think that they need to, make sure that people are bought into the story and not just bringing back these characters that we all know and love. And the other thing that's interesting about like all Marvel is canon in like the MCU, the MCU, like a lot of people are always like, why isn't the MCU the 616 universe? The MCU can't be the 616 universe because the comics are the 616 universe. You can't have two of the same universe where different things happen. Otherwise, they're not the same universe. You get they can't have a different version of a story. It just doesn't make sense. But was there something I said to you about this that I'm forgetting?
No.
Okay. Yeah. That's my piece.
Nah, bro, you're on the money. No, I 100% agree with everything you just said. I love the idea of the MCU making everything canon. I think that, as I said, I think it widens the perspective because technically Marvel does own all the properties except Sony. But this makes me feel like Kevin Feige is telling Sony, hey, like, I'm starting this new reboot. I want Venom here, but you got to stop these Madam Web movies. You got to stop all this extra crap that you're doing and bring them all over. And as I said,
I actually like Madam Web.
Yes, but do it in MCU.
Like fair. And you know what? I also really am. I know we're gonna get into Spider-Man 2 a bit, but like, are we? Is that on the docket at all? If it's not, it's fine. I'm not gonna.
Yes,
talk
it
about
is.
It much, but
it's on the docket.
I'll wait. I'll save it.
Okay. So yeah. So I'm all for this. Let's enter some chats, man. Our chat's going crazy today. Yeah. Okay. And guys, we love the fact that you guys are talking, and we will answer every question because that's how we do it. Even if we don't get to the topics, we want to make sure that you all are heard. Okay. Okay, was Fassbender's Magneto supposed to be in the Multiverse of Madness? If so, we were robbed. I heard nothing of Michael Fassbender being in it.
I would love to see him.
I would rather Fassbender be Magneto in the MCU. Just saying, more than Ian McKellen. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Fassbender actually destroyed the role. Like, both of them, him and McAvoy, they were both great. But I don't think they would do it. But money talks. That's all I'll say. Makes me think Feige. Was it Feige at fault for what happened with Phase 4 or the higher political people? We believe it's the political people at Disney that made it. Me and Comic have talked about it a lot of times.
Here's the other thing. I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the other thing about Disney you have to realize. Disney has made a ton of awful decisions. They've lost like $800 million over the last 10 or 11 movies, some crazy number like that. So when you look at it as a whole and you compare and you talk about someone like Kevin Feige has a dominant track record, okay? where things are going wrong at Disney are Disney. They're pushing out a bunch of property, a bunch of stuff that parents don't want their kids seeing. They're forcing stuff down people's throats. They're laundering all these female characters into these movies and shows where, listen, the characters are fine. Give them their own movie or show. Don't tell us it's a Doctor Strange movie and then make it an America Chavez movie or something like that. You know, it's not fair to the customer. I'm buying a Doctor Strange ticket. I want to see a Doctor Strange movie, not an America Chavez movie that you snuck in. And it's not cool.
Bro hates America Chavez
so many times. I hate America Chavez. And there's a bunch of other characters like that. But like Ironheart, I actually didn't hate. Like I thought Ironheart was a good character. But they you know, you get my point. And with the falling off of the MCU, I think that is I think that's a small piece of the bigger picture of things going wrong at Disney.
100% agree. 100% agree. All right. What do you think? Wait, soft reboot. Keep what works like the Infinity Saga, and they sort of bring back the deleted scenes. Take stuff that doesn't work. All the wool garbage. Agreed. What do you think of Old Man Steve will do in the movie? I think it will give Sam some advice. Not sure if Cap would come back like in the comics where the Infinity Cube rejuvenated him back to himself. I'm not sure, but I think Old Man Steve could pop up, give some wisdom to Sam.
I think it's an L to do that because I think that they need to. And listen, I'm a big Sam fan. I think he's a great character. I think he's very underrated, and I think that if you put Steve Rogers in that movie, you're gonna diminish Sam Wilson's spark, and that they need audiences to buy in on Sam Wilson being Captain America from that movie. And if they put Steve Rogers in that movie, they're only going to diminish that. And that's my piece on that.
What if that's the point? Because I don't know. It all depends. Well, that might be the point because you might think that fans don't like Sam, but I do think that new Brave New World is going to be a Sam movie. I don't really see anything else like other than that. I think, as I said, you and I
really are character laundering.
No,
you know I love that word. Phrase.
I think Brave New World is going to be a great movie. Okay, so what's the next question? I see some people saying it's 616 comic.
I think this is what I was talking about earlier. Listen, I've heard that before, but I don't like it because why not have the comics be one universe in the multiverse of things, and then the MCU universe, and that
the MCU is not the 616, bro.
It's not the 616. That's what I'm saying. But it would be cooler if everything's canon and they're making Venom canon and the Amazing Spider-Man's canon. Why can't the comics universe be part of that too, and that be canon and be a separate universe than the MCU? Like that's a much cooler way to.
It might be.
I think.
It might be. We just don't know it.
It should be.
It has to be. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah. So people got to stop, and that's why I think it's a mistake to push for the MCU to be the 616 universe.
Yeah, and people gotta stop saying the MCU is not the friggin' 616. Bro.
Yeah, they told us like 1,000 times that it's not.
Yeah, bro. Chris Evans, Rogue. What? Do you know what he's saying?
Steven, I think it's a typo. I think he meant Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers as a new Who Remains.
Nah,
not feeling that one, bro. Now with the new Ultimates, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to say I've been reading the comics, and I believe I'm not going to say because I'm going to put us on a whole nother track. I'd bring back RDJ as Superior Iron Man to make it different, and bring back Chris Evans as Nomad rather than Captain America. No, I would not do that. Just bring him back as Tony. Just bring him as Tony. We just need Tony. We don't need Superior. Make Tom Cruise Superior Iron Man. That's one thing. Another thing too. I think RDJ is going to sit out of Secret Wars and be in the new MCU. Okay. Now I want to talk about this. Right. Scorsese runs his mouth again about superhero IP. Okay. Now I have a lot to say on this topic because Scorsese pissed me off. But you can go first, and I'll get into my rant.
You know what's crazy? Because all the things that he's been saying lately, but I recently read a comic where they praised Martin Scorsese in a Miles Morales comic. And they quoted him. Hold on, I have a screenshot. Give me a second.
Wait, you said they talked about him in the comic book?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why Francis Ford Coppola was right about the future of world cinema. As Martin Scorsese is famous for saying, what movies do is bring us together. And it's crazy because they said that in a Marvel comic, and to talk about the MCU as if it didn't bring people together, which is what he talks about movies for doing. The MCU brought so many people together, and it brought all of us here tonight onto, this stream. And listen, I think he's concerned because the comic book movie genre is the hottest genre in the game right now. It's changed the landscape of cinema, as Stevie was saying before, and it's made people less interested in the older types of, mafia movies that Martin Scorsese makes. Having said that, I'm still stoked to see Killers of the Flower Moon. I normally would have went opening night, but I didn't because I wanted to play Spider-Man 2. But I'm absolutely stoked for that movie. It looks amazing, and I don't understand why he's got such a bone to pick with comic book movies. And I get that some of them are bad and they're low quality and they're a lot of what am I blanking on? What's this video effects word? CGI.
CGI.
Yeah, and there's a lot of CGI and there's low quality and the story isn't there. And that's, kind of what I thought we got with Blue Beetle. And if you disagree with me on that one, I know there's others you could think of, but you get the point that I'm saying. But as a whole, the genre, most of the movies are pretty good, at least from Marvel. DC, it's not as consistent, but you get the point.
All right, Martin Scorsese. All right, I want to be real with you for a moment. Martin, look at me in my eyes when I'm talking to you, Martin, okay? I am sick of your little comments. Okay, now let's read this. In the new interview with the British GQ, the Killers of the Flower Moon director elaborated on his long-held opinion that superhero-driven IP franchises are dangerous to film culture. There are going to be generations now that think movies are only those. That's what movies are, he said. They already think that. Okay. Not to mention, a few years ago around Endgame, he said it's not real cinema. Okay. So, here's my problem with you, Martin Scorsese, with that comment. I was about to call you a word that I'm not going to say because I'm a pastor and I can't say those words in public. So, this is all I'm going to say, Martin. I hate the idea that you think that Avengers is not cinema, because let's Google the definition of cinema. The definition of cinema is a theater where movies are shown for the public and for public entertainment. Not cinema. This is Martin Scorsese's issue. He is angry because the movies are popping out $1 billion and the promotions are running over the movies that he wants to make. And basically, he is blaming Marvel for the reasons why some of his movies have failed. Now, I don't really think his movies have failed, but maybe they haven't performed to the part that he wanted them to. Now, this is all, and this is all that I'm going to say, Mr. Martin Scorsese. Okay? Disney has the resources to mass promote. Disney has the resources to do whatever they want. Why are you hating on Disney for having the having the actual resources to do those things? You guys work with these studios that they just don't have the resources that Disney has. Disney is the biggest studio in the world, bro. Like you won't get those resources. And then on top of that, this is another issue that I have. And obviously shout out to Matt Oler. Him and I were debating this because the one thing that Matt was saying to me, he said superhero driven IPs take away directors' right to, have movies and it takes away jobs. This is my rebuttal to that about saying a superhero driven IP franchise just take away jobs. So you're telling me that people like Martin Scorsese, like Quentin Tarantino, which are men that I respect, like Christopher Nolan, right? These dudes make movies once every 5 years versus Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel Studios, where they're doing 3 to 5 movies and projects a year. Who do you think is giving out more jobs then? Wouldn't you say Marvel, right?
Yeah, but I have a big problem with that too.
Hold on. Comic Cuts, complete. Hold on. Let me just get off my point because I have smoke with Mr. Scorsese, bro. Because at the end of the day, you can't get mad at the idea. And here is the other issue. And this is what me and Matt were kind of talking about. I said you can't get mad at the fact that fans care more about Marvel than about what Martin Scorsese is doing. More fans are going to want to read articles and YouTube and talk about what's going on in the Marvel universe. Then that's just the way that society is going. You can't hate on that. And he was like, yeah, but fans shouldn't feel that way. Why?
Here's the other thing. First of all, the thing about Marvel movies and the shared universes is like when I'm going to see Killers of the Flower Moon, it's a new story. I'm not bought into the story yet. When I'm going to watch Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, yes, it's a sequel to Doctor Strange, but that's also a sequel to Avengers Endgame. It's a sequel to all these other movies, and I'm bought in. So, of course, fans are going to be more excited for movies that they're already bought in on the story and have enjoyed 20 entries of that story prior. And about the competition and business and taking away jobs. And listen, this might sound harsh, but it's true. One of the biggest parts about business is competition. And like you win business from competition, you lose business from competition. It's the way the world works. It's a free market economy, and thank God it is. And Martin Scorsese, to be complaining about that, like you are one of the most successful guys in the movie business. And here's where I really think his problem is, because he might not direct a movie. He might only direct a movie every couple of years, but he's a producer on a lot of these movies. And a lot of these movies that he's a producer on are probably making less money than they did before the MCU and the comic book movie was the hottest game in town.
Yep. And this is where I come to. And this is what a lot of people say. And I'm happy you said that, bro, because I said the same thing in our superhero group chat, Comic Cuts. I literally said, like, look, right, I work for a payment processing company, right? Metro Payment Tech, right? We are a small company. Square is a bigger company than us, right? So that means that Square could put us out of business at any time. If my company dies, I can't cry, but I got to get a new job, right? That's the way it works. Same thing with movies and studios. So here's the thing. And this is where the reality, this is where I feel like a lot of people like Matt, I was talking about, doesn't understand reality. Reality is this. As a creator, what Comic Cuts, you and I are creators, right? As creators, to really be successful in something, it is rare that you can do what you want to be successful. True creatives don't do what they want to be successful. They follow a formula and put their style into the formula to work.
Right. And
so hold on. So this is what I'm saying. As a creator, right? If you do what you want, there's a 50-50 chance either it's going to be hot or it's going to flop. That's the reality. 50-50. If you follow a formula like what Marvel did, right? Kevin Feige had a 70-30 chance. Why? Because he's making content that was already written. He's taking content that people already cared about. It's not that like the whole concept of the MCU is literally not hard. Comic Cuts tonight, if we had the money, we can make the same thing because all he's doing is following books.
Right.
Versus people like Scorsese.
They say like what's the word? I think the story. Could you hear me right now?
Yeah.
the storybook. Like that's like the big thing. The storyboards. That's like the big thing to making a scene in movies. The storyboard is already made. It's literally the comics. There's words, there's photos, there's all of it. So, they got to pick what worked out of a library of content, and it was smart. The thing about art is, for it to be successful, like, it's not just art on its own, it's also commerce. And that's everyone likes to ignore that piece of the puzzle, but like it's just as important.
Yep. So yeah. And so as a creator, there's a sacrifice that you have to make. And the reality is that, look, Comic Cuts and I, in our hearts and minds, I promise you, him and I both have 1,000 different ways we would want to run this channel. But we don't. You know why? Because Comic Cuts and I understand that there's a formula to grow. And we've grown. Look, guys, we've grown over 400 subs this year. Do you guys understand? Last year, we only grown 200. And we're only in October. We're probably going to hit 1,000, which will be 800 subscribers in a year. You know how big that is for us? Because we follow the formula. And so, why do you think The Wolf of Wall Street is so successful? Because they followed a book. They followed the story. So that's all I have to say in regards to Martin. You can't hate on someone for finding something that works and using it, even if it hurts for what you're doing. That's called business. So, all right.
Yeah.
And Comic, that's why I love you, because you understand that. Okay. So let's talk about Spider-Man 2. I don't want to spoil Spider-Man 2.
No.
I kind of just want to give an overview because look, people, I'm
beat it?
I haven't. No, I did not beat it. I
that.
just got the symbiote, so I think we're gonna wait like a week or two to really like spoil it. But just give an overview without spoiling and just how you feel about the Spider-Man game so far.
Yo, first of all, like the one thing I really, really wanted was for this game to feel a next gen compared to Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yes, Spider-Man Miles Morales came out on PS5, but it was a launch game. It wasn't like totally innovated compared to the first one. This one really does feel miles ahead of both, no pun intended. But the other thing is that's so crazy about it, like obviously the gameplay, the traversal is all awesome. The story is one of the biggest factors in making me want to keep playing it, because the story is so awesome. I love that they made Harry Venom, because Eddie Brock just isn't as close to home for Peter. He's not like in Peter's main inner circle. There's iterations where he was like, a close, like older neighbor or something like that, I think in Ultimate, but it wasn't like this. And the other thing that's really cool about it is, it obviously took a lot of inspiration from The Last Hunt. There was that part of the game where you're kind of in, I forget if it was a museum, a library, or whatever, but it felt like that the Last Hunt when, Kraven was in that house and, Spider-Man had the black suit. I don't really know what's going to happen after, but what I can tell you is that this game, or once it's said and done, it could be up there as one of not a movie, but the story is like up there with the best of the best Spider-Man. And that's why we need the next Spider-Man MCU movie, should be a symbiote Last Hunt, maybe spread over 2 movies. That would be insane. But I do think that we're going to get Venom, because the post credits from Spider-Man No Way Home and Venom Carnage were both intertwined. So I do think that they plan on bringing Tom Hardy's Venom. But this game is incredible. They made Kraven so awesome, and Kraven's such a cool character. The guy, and so that's why it was he really just came to New York to hunt. His whole thing is that, for those of you that might not read comics, but Kraven's whole thing is that the world is so messy and chaotic to him that ironically he found his version of a civilized world where he feels civilized in the jungle, in hunting. So that's what he does to feel normal. And it's like more than sport is to an athlete. Like that's like his way of life. So he came to New York to hunt. He needed a few different characters on the roster. And then once he met Spider-Man, he was like, damn, and obviously the Lizard piece is, cool. I just finished the Lizard fight, which was incredible. But the game is awesome. And it really did take me right back to the Last Hunt comic, which, listen, I think the Last Hunt is great. It's a classic. I know some people are not going to like the
a little overrated.
It's a little overrated, and I think it's a little overrated because it's dated. I think there's a lot of comics that, if they were retold in a modern lens, would be a lot better. But sometimes when you read an iconic classic comic that a lot of people talk about and they're from the past, like they just don't hit the way the way people talk about it doesn't seem to match the quality of the comic.
I agree.
I think that came down to the writing being dated in the Last time.
I agree. I think Spider-Man is one of the best games that's ever come out. I was really playing this game, and I'm like, man, this is like the greatest thing I ever played in my life. It was during I'm not going to spoil, but it was during a fighting scene with Harry. I'm like, dude, this is just golden, man. I'm like, oh my gosh, the suits and everything, I'm in love. So far, I'm loving the game. Let's go through some of these comments real quick so we can just catch up. And then we have like 2 more topics to cover, and then we'll be out of here. Okay, so let's see. I still believe Bucky will be in the MCU, White Wolf in the MCU, because Winter Soldier is from the past, needs to get a new name. Yeah, I don't really care what they do with Bucky at this point. I'll be real. Why don't you like Madam Web or some of the Disney Plus series? Okay, I don't. It's not that I don't
come out.
Yeah, so. It isn't that I don't. Like, he's saying that because I said cancel Madam Web. It isn't that I don't like Madam Web, but what people don't understand is that there are characters that are good with other characters. So, in my opinion, right, I hate the idea of the Joker movie because the Joker is Batman's villain. So why the hell would you make a Joker movie without Batman? You know what I'm saying? So with someone like Madam Web, right, the movie can only be so interesting because it has to deal with Spider-Man. And if you were to go back, right, and watch what I grew up on, which is the animated Spider-Man series, the whole entire Madam Web series that they did was literally freaking legendary, bro. And if I am trying to make a movie, I'm going off of that. I'm not going to make just a Madam Web random movie. So yeah, the Batman wasn't cinema. Matt Reeves didn't have passion. Exactly. That is why when he talks out of his, that's why when Scorsese talks out of anger and says that superhero cinema is not real. Like, bro, come on, bro. It's art. Arguably some of the best art that we've ever seen in all time. But it doesn't mean the Winter Soldier is going forever. Let's be real. Eventually, Hydra will be back. Yeah, I don't really care about the Winter Soldier. I'll be real with you. They kind of just threw him to the side, so it's fine. It's a soft reboot, meaning just half of it will change and the other half will stay the way it is. True. So the reboot. Wait, what do you mean it's going to be in a different Earth? So what I said is, bro, is that basically all of the Earths are going to be destroyed in Secret Wars, right? We're going to be on Battle World. All the Earths are going to be destroyed, and Reed is going to restore the multiverse by making a new Earth and putting different heroes on there. And that's going to be our new Marvel Universe. Okay, sadly can't play the game till it comes out on PC like 4 years later. Sorry for that. Me and Steve, we talked about this. Capitalizing on superhero movies is smart, and it's always going to be number one. If you're making movies, ask yourself how you appeal to the majority of the ages consistently. You do that by superhero films, right? Comic cuts?
Yeah.
Or James Bond or any other shared, there's John Wick is even appealing to all the ages. It's all about what you build off of. Like it's all about the build up. John Wick has build up, and they're even coming off with a freaking spin-off show that's going to be awesome. Sadly, can't play the game till it comes out on PC till like 4 years later, bro. Get a PS5, bro. Don't wait. I promise you won't regret it. If we were making money, I would hire you to edit, and we would help you pay for it. But we don't have that yet. The bag is coming soon. Kevin Feige knows that She-Hulk didn't work. Very likely, they will get recast, aka new actresses for She-Hulk. I actually do not. So Kevin Feige isn't like that. Kevin Feige will not give up on you. I do believe Kevin Feige is going to make changes to her character, and we're going to be talking about Brie Larson next, and I have something to say about that as well. It's already rated the highest Spider-Man game of all time. Yes. The only question is who can play a better She-Hulk. She-Hulk's not getting recasted. Venom is getting his own spin-off game 100% after the comics were made, of course. Off topic. Since they're making a Wolverine now, how do you think that's going to work in terms of the story and location? I think the Wolverine game is going to be separate from Spider-Man, and I think the Wolverine game is going to be dope.
I think they said it's not in the same universe.
Yeah, it can't be. Just now, Isa Gonzalez commented on a picture of Wonder Woman James Gunn posted, our new Wonder Woman. Yeah, she actually, that post was 2 days ago. He posted, I think it was National Wonder Woman Day, and she posted, I think she would be the perfect casting. I think she is gorgeous, number one. She was in Bloodshot with Vin Diesel, and that's when I kind of found out about her. I think she's a great actress, and if she gets casted as the Wonder Woman, another W for James Gunn. And honestly, if she's commenting, she most likely is in talks for the role. Okay. Now let's get into this real quick. We have two. After this, we got one more topic, and we'll be out of your hair. Okay, Brie Larson might quit playing Captain Marvel. So there was a rumor that came out that Brie Larson is considering quitting Captain Marvel due to the hate that she's been receiving. Now here's my outlook on it. I can't blame Brie Larson for the way Captain Marvel has been portrayed. Okay, this is my thing. Okay, I think Captain Marvel has a Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man complex. All right. A lot of people love Robert Downey Jr. for being the greatest hero to ever walk the earth, but we forget a lot. We weren't like Iron Man 3 isn't that great of a movie, okay? And the big dilemma with Iron Man is that Iron Man fit better in group films than solo films. That is why Civil War hit so hard and all these other, and even No Way Home, because the character of Tony Stark, the way Robert Downey Jr. played him, fit better with other characters. I think Captain Marvel has that same dilemma. I don't think Brie Larson herself can. I don't think the Captain Marvel character right now can carry a movie on her own. I think Captain Marvel fits best with other characters. I do think Brie Larson is going to stay, and I would love to get an actual Civil War story with Captain Marvel versus Downey and stuff like that. I just don't think that she has that. Too. Yeah, I would love something like that. I just don't think she fits in there.
The other thing, though, like I don't think she ever added to an Avengers movie the way Robert Downey Jr. did with Iron Man. And listen, I'm a fan of Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. I think they could do. I think there's a lot more to be done with her. But if she's complaining about the criticism she's getting, maybe she shouldn't have made some of the comments she did.
Yeah. I will also say you can't say that about her because she's never had the chance to add to a Avengers movie. You know what I mean?
Well,
and when she was in Avengers,
there's more to be done with her. That's why I say there's more to be done with her because they really didn't give her that much of a role. Like, yeah, she might have been big in the Endgame final fight scene, but she never had enough dialogue for her character to really shine.
I agree. And that's the thing. We never really got to see her shine at all. Honestly, even the movie made sense of how serious she was because she didn't know who she was. And I think a lot of people took that the wrong way. Like the reason why Brie Larson was so stuck up in Captain Marvel 1 was because she was trying to find herself. You know what I mean? So yeah. I kind of don't understand that. But anyways, yeah, Brie Larson, I don't want her to quit. I think she plays a good Captain Marvel. And I believe that Kevin Feige, and the way that Kevin Feige is, he stands with his people. He's going to work with her, and they're going to figure it out. And I believe that if you make the right changes, give her some guidance on how to handle the press, because when you look at the way RDJ and Chris Hemsworth, the people like that carried themselves, it was different. But I do think a lot of that had to do because Captain Marvel got $1 billion movie, and I think she had a little swag to her, and I think that swag got her some hate with a lot of the fans. So, but I think she can earn the good graces back, and I have faith in her coming back.
I don't know. I also think she drank like the Kool-Aid of the time, and she made some comments that are really biting her in the ass.
I agree. And the reality is, you like what you do off screen does affect you on screen. The woman who accused Jonathan Majors is getting charged with assault now. Thank God. The man, we've been saying that he was innocent. So
yeah.
So shout out to Jonathan Majors, man. I hope that it all gets worked out because
And by the way, that last Loki episode proves how difficult of a recast he would be if they ever had to.
Yeah. They would have to cast a Denzel level character, honestly, a level actor to take that role. Brie Larson, no more woke, learn how to take better. They said might there's a chance she won't leave. Yeah, exactly. They didn't even honor the rule. And the 100th monkey, bro. That and Comic Cuts knows I'm a big Marvel fan. Marvel is on my top 5 favorite superheroes of all time. It sucks that they didn't honor him the right way. I do believe there's still a chance to do it though. This is what I would do if I was them. I would start the new reboot with Marvel instead of Captain Marvel, but that's probably not going to happen.
They will never do that.
I know.
She is like of all the female characters, she is like their number one.
But this is what I would do. I would make her Miss Marvel and make Marvel so they can have the relationship. That's what I would do. And then they birth their son because Captain Marvel's son is literally one of the most interesting characters in Marvel. And he's so slept on. Okay. Now, last topic of the night. Why the Fantastic Four will not be from the MCU. And I talked about this earlier, but I want to dig into it. And I want you to like kind of come off me. Oh, pause. That sounded sus. I want you to talk about it after me. Wow, that was crazy. Okay. I know Brendan's like, whoa, that was suspect. Okay. The Fantastic Four will not be in the MCU because of Frank. I mean, they're going to have kids
in the MCU, but they're not going to be from the MCU.
Yes.
Main.
Yes. So I believe this is a great decision because of the fact that it will be too much movement to make it work. And I think putting them in this new universe or this new Earth is the perfect way to introduce them to where. So here's the question I have, Comic Cuts. What if we get a whole Fantastic Four story with a full Earth of Avengers, with a full Earth of X-Men? What if that's what we get?
Listen, I've said from day one with Fantastic Four, they need to go places that we've never been before. You know, they didn't have the success they wanted in the 2000s with the Fantastic Four movies, like them or not. They didn't have success with the 2015 Fantastic Four. I think it was 2015. And they're going to have to do something completely new, fresh, and bold. You know, I don't think it's a good idea. As much as I would like to see Fantastic Four with the Avengers, with the X-Men, I don't think that's a good idea to do that. I think doing something new and fresh is very vague. That can mean a lot of different things. One of those things I don't think it should mean is that they should have another super team in that same movie. So they need to sell the Fantastic Four to audiences that don't read comics, that didn't like the first two Fantastic Four in the 2000s, didn't like the 2015 Fantastic Four, and they need to sell it, and they need to sell it good. I think that it would be really cool to do something in a different universe and introduce them to the Marvel 1999 universe. But I also am not opposed to seeing them on the same universe that we've been in. And, you know, maybe they were stuck in the negative zone or something like that. And I think that would be a little bit cooler and introduce the negative zone. I'm also interested in who the villain is going to be. I think they're talking about Galactus. Does that mean Silver Surfer is going to be involved? And by the way, just because, why am I blanking on the name? What's Reed's kid again?
Franklin Richards.
Franklin. Just because Franklin Richards is born doesn't mean that you can't have a Fantastic Four movie in the universe. Yeah, it creates a little bit of a hurdle, but listen, it doesn't have to be an origin story. It shouldn't be an origin story. I do think they should include a little origin flashback, you know, because I think that there are a lot of fans out there that don't read comics, that aren't so familiar with the Fantastic Four, and you're going to want to know how they got their crazy powers. So I think that's important. And I think it's a W to have Franklin Richards in it. You know, he's one of the most powerful, you know, figures in all of Marvel. He does some really cool things, especially when it comes to, worlds and the universe, and he's brilliant. So I think that's awesome. Dragon Trainers talking about Matt Smith as Mr. Fantastic. I see a lot of people throw the name out. I haven't seen him in anything. Maybe I have, and I don't remember. So I can't get behind it just because I'm not so familiar with him.
Yep. I agree. I mean, I would love to see the Avengers in the other universe. I would rather see the Illuminati though. I think the Illuminati is going to be in this Fantastic Four movie as well. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to be surprised when they say it's nothing that we've ever seen before. I think we're kind of going to see, like, we're coming into them being established in the universe, in their Earth. So let's read some comments. All right, Den of Nerds thinks that the Hulk will be recast after Secret Wars, and honestly, even though it's not Mark's fault, I think it's time we move on from Ruffalo. I always thought Mark Ruffalo was mid as Bruce Banner anyway. So
yeah, he sucks altogether.
Yeah. Matt Smith is Mr. Fantastic. Hell no. Matt Smith was the bad guy in Venom 2. In Morbius. No, I'm good. I'm good off of Matt Smith. I think he'll be a terrible Reed Richards. It needs to be either Adam Driver, a generational actor needs to be in that role. There's no other way around it. Look, Adam Driver, yes. Wait, what? But it's Disney, but it's Marvel. But it's Marvel. Disney owns Fox, so the Fantastic Four has to be in MCU. Okay, here's the thing, bro. Even though they bought the rights from Fox, okay, it doesn't mean that the story has to happen inside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Do you think Deadpool's going to start in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? No, it's going to start in the Fox Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay? So it doesn't have to be that. Look, guys, there are, like, think about this, Earth 838 and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's not an MCU unit. That's not an MCU Earth, okay? 838 is a whole other Earth, okay? So let's make sure that the context is right, guys, okay? All right. A YouTube called Comic Book Cast 2 made a video about a soft reboot. I like it personally. We will definitely check that out for sure. Hey, is Captain Marvel going to be in the Illuminati with Wong and Hawk? Most likely not. That's not even close to the worst things you've said. Facts. I've said worse things. Okay, and I think that is all. Well, here we go. The people that I know aren't excited for anything Marvel except Deadpool 3 and Secret Wars. They are all super casuals. I don't know how Disney expects people to care about New World Order, Thunderbolts, etc. I promise you. By the way, it's called Brave New World. Brave New World is going to be a banger, and I think that's going to get fans excited. Go ahead.
So here's the thing. The casuals, which is a good term for them, but the casuals, once they see that guys like us are talking about how great a movie is, and other creators and websites and social media accounts are saying a movie was great, and they start praising it, then the intrigue will come back, and people will come back around, and they're like, you know what, I'll go see the new Marvel movie, and if it's good, great, and people will be brought back in. And it's inevitable. It's not if, it's when. I'm hoping that it happens with the Marvels. I'm hoping that Loki is so dope and it brings us into the Marvels. The Marvel, really drives home Incursions with the Incursion Wall, and it's a really cool movie. I understand that there are some things working against the Marvels for it to be that, and I think one of them is Brie Larson and her comments. I think her comments really aggravated a lot of fans. Specifically when she said, I don't care what, I think it was straight white men, think of my movie. Not a smart thing to say to people you're trying to sell tickets to. Regardless of anyone's politics, let's call a spade a spade. But listen, if it's not the Marvels, it will be another Marvel movie. Like, Marvel is going to be hot again. It's not if, it's when.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be Deadpool 3. The Marvels is probably going to bomb. Let's be real. And that's more of a wake-up call that Marvel needs. So, yeah, that's where we're going to end it. Wait, there's one more question I like. What do you think of Pedro Pascal recast as Bruce Banner? That would be a very interesting casting. I'm not going to lie to you. I could see it. Yeah. I could see it. I'm down for it too. So, all right, guys, we're going to end the podcast episode here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on with us. We had like
Thank you.
6 to 7 viewers. Like, this is more than what we usually get. So we're so thankful for you guys.
Yeah.
We love you. Have a wonderful day. Stay crispy. Please like, subscribe. Please like the video, subscribe to us, and ring the notification bell so you know when we post. We post every day. We love you guys. Peace out.
Peace.